What's up, everybody? This is Edward back with another video, another episode of Everybody Hates Black Men. I am your host, Edward Anderson. Once again, I know it's late at night. I know it's late as hell. We'll see where it is, how long this goes. This is another infomercial hour. Most of y'all are not going to be up, so y'all catch this early in the morning. I'm up as hell, doing something, burning late night oil, so it is what it is. Shout out to Pink Book Lessons. She definitely puts out good fire, really good hard hitting videos. It's very easy and quick to absorb. I think she presents the information needs to be presented in such a way. Shout out to Rob from Comics Explain, in such a way that I think is easily absorbable and is the type of shit that if you don't want to argue with females, just send a link to her shit. And if you want to get a chick cuts the fuck out, send a link to Love Dorsey. Shout out Dardar. A lot of y'all, I'm sure y'all don't want me to do this often, like too often, but I see a lot of y'all do like my infomercial hours, so I'll probably do them maybe once every 2 weeks or so, maybe sooner than that. But that's all I'm committing to. But y'all see the title, and I can tell you right now, most people are not even going. A lot of people are not even going to get past the title outside of the people that y'all listen to me to listen to me. People will see this, see the title, get critiqued. I do consider myself, as far as how I live my life, I am a what you would call a traditional black conservative, and there's a difference. I think so. What prompted me doing this video? What prompted me doing this video was what I actually talked about in my last immersion. My last It's a combination of things. One is Pink Book Lessons, and she didn't mention anything about conservatism, but she did bring up in the last video that I shared talking about shaming. And then you got Amira. Amira is the, I guess, Muslim female, Lebanese female that is, it's part of the Lapeef Show Network. And then, you obviously heard people talking about the buzz about Courtney and being exposed and all that bullshit. Now that dust is kind of settled, and a lot of times you gotta let stuff kind of settle a little bit, and you gotta understand that people gonna do what people gonna do. There's a certain amount of hype and entertainment factor to social media, so you can't really take stuff too personally as long as they don't cross certain lines. What's up, Morpheus? And there's that. Y'all make sure y'all support my Cash App as well. Just putting that out there. And if you're new, make sure you subscribe. But um but I did get a chance. I haven't seen a video from Amira, I want to be honest. But I did say last night that, some of the accusations that Courtney was making, I want to link to it. And I kind of understand why. Here's the thing. I can understand why Courtney thought that she could just bulldoze her way through this. But I think the problem that she failed to understand is it's not her show. And she can be, and nobody is not replaced, and nobody's unreplaceable. Nobody's unreplaceable. And the fact that, their show, they are willing to interview new female guests, honestly put all of them on notice. And I think I saw this with Tariq and she a way back. Women tend to think they can't be replaced until they get replaced. Especially black women. Black women are really bad about that. They really walk around with a who gon' check me boo attitude, especially around black men. They don't really do that as much around non-black men because they know non-black men just not gonna give a fuck. But hold on. Ooh. But they do tend to have an attitude. They tend to have an attitude where they can't get checked, and it's varying degrees to that. So I looked on Amira's page, YouTube page. I'm not gonna put it out there just yet, but shout out to Angela who gave it to me. And I can see why black women. So let's start off here. We know 95% of black women vote Democrat, and to be fair, 80% of black men vote Democrat. The ones that do vote. So you got black people that don't vote. You got black people that do vote, and of those are those numbers. And then there's a growing number, a growing percentage of black men in particular, but black people as well. There's some people that are looking to vote for different parties, and I would argue that if they were willing to vote for Trump, I'm not going to say Trump is extreme, but they're willing to vote for Trump, then they would be willing to vote for other people that's not going to be that hard hitting. Trump should tell you what the lengths of people are willing to go. And I'd argue if that was a different type of conservative, if that was more like a George W. Bush type today, then you would have got a lot more black numbers. You would have. So there's that. But so we got to understand that within that context. So you're dealing with females. We understand the guy, there's levels to it. We get the gynocracy. That's what nobody will talk about. But we also understand the political separation. Now in the manosphere, that stuff splits very interestingly. The majority of black men that deal with red pill tend to lean more conservative, right of center, to real on the right. Even people like Jada Black and stuff like that. I'm technically right of center, but I'm more of an independent. That's what you typically hear it being called. Tend to be pro-capitalist, pro a lot of that, and then you got the pro-blacks and stuff like that, where they believe in working at the government, all that. This stuff doesn't. Sorry about that. I know y'all want me coughing your ear. This stuff doesn't often get talked about until it's time for political season. When the reality is, stuff like this should be talked about really year round. Really. Even in the off season, even if you don't necessarily have a political channel, right? So shout out to Jim Rant. So I wanted to put that context. So I understand why she thought she could probably bulldoze her way through that on this point, because number one, she's non-black, and number two, she's definitely not a liberal. Now, she's not a liberal. Now to be fair, you have to understand that through the context of Amira being Lebanese. I told you all, Lebanon is not really the same as what a lot of Arab countries are. Lebanon is a lot more democratic. So when you look at so most of y'all don't actually encounter Lebanese, because let's just call it what it is. And this is true for white people too. I'm not going to act like this is true for Americans. So let's be clear. I'm not separating black people. This is true for Americans in general. And with African Americans, we tend to be very indifferent. Either you're black, you're white, you're Latin, that's it. Asian, that's it. We tend to not get into all the idiosyncrasies. Even with Latins, we know there's Mexicans, there's non-Mexicans. There's Mexicans, there's Puerto Ricans, and Dominicans, because a lot of them, the Puerto Ricans and Dominicans, have some black in them to a certain extent. So black people tend to be very indifferent on shit like that. You know what I'm saying? And when I say indifferent, and I have not heard Amira say the stuff that to be fair, I haven't watched her videos. I've just seen her channel. That's what I'm commenting on. So I haven't seen the clip of what she's talking about to give context to that, but I have seen her page, and seeing her videos, going through it, doing the most viewed, earliest, least viewed. Yeah, I can see why. And this is where O'Shea Du Jackson kind of becomes interesting, because O'Shea Du Jackson does, even though he may disagree with a lot of stuff Brandon Tatum is, he still fucks with them. He doesn't really like Candace Owens. He definitely fucks with Anthony Brown Logan. And the reality of the situation is, then you got people like Mr. Fantastic. You've got Ramil, which is more pro-capitalist, so he's more on the business side of it. You got people like Mr. Fantastic. You can even argue Angry Man and stuff like that, but he's more on the street conservative kind of thing, which that's its own thing. And then you've seen the dust stuff can create, because you got BGS, stuff like that. My point is, and then shout out to Sub-Zero, same thing. Sub-Zero is more kind of closer to where I am with it. But he comes from more of the black church side. So looking at her video, her videos, because you guys she mentions Brandon. The thing is, she's definitely in that crowd, that Candace Owens, Brandon Tatum. So pretty much just like Muslims you got to remember, Muslims, even liberal Muslims, are way more conservative than here's the thing. Black people are generally more conservative, but right now, we're pretty much The loudest people in the room, the people that are really dominating the culture, are not people you would consider conservative. Let's just call that what it is in black culture. Even though default black people are more conservative than white folks, I would argue. Especially when you take the racial element out of it. White folks really, what makes a lot of them conservative is a lot of the ethnic part. You take that out of it, even a lot of your quote unquote Republicans are not that conservative. They're more like Mitt Romney or not. So you have a lot of resource control conservatives. That's not really the same as what I'm talking about. So you have to look at these things through a variety of vectors. Just like how with people that are liberal, you have people that are more liberal minded, but they have limits to that too. Like they're more libertarian liberal, meaning they would be better characterized as libertarian than they would liberal. But obviously you grow up with, just like you grow up in the church and you accept Christianity because that's what you're given. It's the same thing with parties. So anyway, I'm setting the table right here. Let's dial into it. So looking at her channel, she's like a Muslim version. She's kind of strikes me as like a Muslim version of like, I wouldn't say Tatum, but I would say Anthony. She would listen to that crowd, and it's very clear that she interacts. She's kind of like an Yvette, Irene Yvette. In fact, that's a really good place to put her. Minus the swirling, minus I dealt with a white man and now I want to come back to the black community. Minus like that issue with her own community, which she doesn't have. She's kind of like an Irene Yvette. That's kind of the best way to place her. And if you've looked at Irene Yvette's videos, Irene Yvette calls stuff out. She's not too like flair as far as that. But she definitely hits hard and she definitely waves the Team Conservative flag. And there's a lot of things, and she's not above critiquing black people. Let me see something. So why is this already talking about? Let's see. All right, I'm back. Sorry, man. I was running a scan on my computer. So, and then she's got 37,000 subscribers. Now, if somebody would have asked me, what do I think about Anton doing this? I think, I don't know. I mean, I can have certain estimated guesses as to why he would do that, but I'm gonna leave that for people. I'm going, but she does have 37 concern, and her channel is a political channel. So when she was talking about like stuff was on one and a lot of stuff was being said, yeah, I could understand why maybe somebody else said some stuff and she responded based on that. And then, but at the end of the day, what you have to understand is she went to a show that's an all black person show. Like, so if it was really that she's racist or she had negative experience, because she has no real reason to want to engage in the show, like in the traditional way. So the fact that she engaged in it and all of that, and even if she was reached out to, which she said she watches the show, like you got that counts for something. And then when you look at like Muslim, it's not the same thing as like, it's not the same thing. Just like how you have Africans that say a lot of shit about ADOS blacks. We have no culture. We have no this. We have no that. They tell, like, that's why when Courtney was trying to sit there and talk about, well, this is what they think of you. Well, the truth is, this is what, like, the Muslims ain't really rising above what I've heard Africans say. You have Africans that they black ass is only here because African Americans fought for the right to be over here. Because we're like, if you're going to import all these other people, you might as well import black people over here too, which paved the way for them having the ability to be here. And I don't give a damn about what they want to talk about what the how they were colorists in the 80s, because that was mainly black females too, by the way, which nobody never wants to hold them accountable, so everything just gets let out there. But the truth is, you got them talking about, well, you don't need to interbreed with black people and all that, as if we're not one of the main ones responsible for some of them coming over here. Not to mention, we economically do business with them. So the truth is, even if I give you all that, black people get that from everybody, including people in the diaspora. So that's number one. Number two is the argument. And see, this is where you have to separate women that are going to make arguments for their own best interests. And then it just happens that a clock is right twice a day and things cross streams. And then you got dudes that they are thirsty for looking for women to validate them in any kind of way because they got a lot of mommy issues. I don't have that problem. I really don't. So I can look at stuff for what it is. So I can separate like a Jessica X, Kendra, and other people. And I can tell even in the moments where they're doing things that, okay, this doesn't make our best interest sense. And basically in that moment, put what they saying over there. And not necessarily throw them under the bus consistently, but permanently. But say, look, for what you doing right now for this episode, you're not playing for the right team, regardless of what you think you're doing. I can do that. When I say y'all, maybe I don't necessarily mean y'all as far as my audience, but a lot of motherfuckers in this space can't do that. They cannot do that because they're just not practical about certain things. They need that female validation energy, and that is a weakness. And that's why a lot of dudes treat women like alcohol. I just can't take a sip, because if I take a sip, I'm going to become an alcoholic again. But yeah, the Taliban comment was uncalled for. But let me tell you something. Whenever I hear a black female talking about culture, I automatically tune the fuck out. Because my thing is, black women have done way too much circling the wagons around bullshit that other black women do for them to ever think that they could come to me and talk about culture. There's only a handful of women that could even have a right to even do that. But you're not gonna just randomly come out here like I'm sorry, and I'm not gonna sit there and say write somebody off for being a single mother and shit like that. But no. I'm not necessarily gonna do that, but what I won't do is sit there and entertain that when that shit only comes up when you're sexually politicking, and that's what a lot of that is. But I can understand why she thought she could just be on one like that, because her channel is pretty much like, her channel looks like something her channel looks like, number one, she has 37,000 subscribers. Number two, if you look at her channel, it looks like something Anthony Brian Logan, Brandon Tatum, Candace Owens, it looks like she fits very much into that crowd. And then what unites them is this idea of anti-liberal culture, because that's one thing I have seen her talk about in a lot of her titles and her descriptions, anti-liberal culture. And she's mainly talking about it from the perspective, her own personal perspective of where her own country is coming from. And then she kind of refracts that onto American society. So you have to look at that from a Middle Eastern standpoint. So Middle Eastern folks are more conservative in general. They're a completely different society in many ways than like what America is, this is where understanding how BGS views conservatives in America, which is neoliberalism, as separate. And you have to understand that context. And then you have to understand that Lebanon is probably more exposed to a lot of the liberal influences and Western influence than most Western countries. So if you're going to kind of be pushed, so I get where her pushback is on that. It's just that, and you can tell at least how she's conducted herself on a Lapeef show, that she's definitely willing to listen. So I think that's something that really probably gives her an advantage over most conservatives, most conservatives in general, and black conservatives in particular. And that's true, black, white, otherwise, because a lot of them don't like to listen. And that includes people in this space. Some of them that I mentioned, they don't like to listen. Everything is on. I get the anti this and anti that. But the thing about it is, they want to try to dominate shit and not understand that right now you're in the minority, rather than listening to really understand where folks are coming from, to really understand where the bullshit is. So why did I do this video? I wanted to let y'all know what kind of inspired me to do this video. And so I get what they were trying to do. But with that being said, what you also have to understand is, from political context, I already know Kay is a feminist. I already know she's a feminist, and I was pretty sure Courtney was too. All them chicks, for the most part, are feminists. I don't know about Lauren because I don't know her, and then all them women are liberal minded to be feminist. So of course they're gonna have a problem with somebody like with somebody like Amira. On top of all, which, you know, black men are more conservative, so black men are not going to be as threatened by that. So it really makes sense, because you typically don't see Lapeef and Tana usually on the same team, and then, you know, if anybody's going to kind of bow out, it's going to be Chicago Gorilla. You typically don't see them united, and so I really wanted to look at why was it that you didn't really see a split with the men, but with her, and I can tell you why. It's because of that political divide. Black men are not going to be as threatened. They're looking at her and saying, at the end of the day, you're married, you're loyal to the team, and you're not saying any flagrant ass shit, completely. And you're here and you're willing to listen. Versus the women, they were just going to be opposed to that for a lot of reasons. I mean, that shit was like the cocktails of queen shit. It's the same thing when you look at Ice Cube, who's more on the conservative end, which is why he was willing to work with Trump. And then you look at how all them women reacted to Ice Cube. That's really how that split down the middle. That's really what that was. And I wanted to add that on, because a lot of times I talk about the gynocracy, but it's really, you have to really understand these things from a lot of different vectors. So that's the first part of that. And I'm really kind of just spitting at this point. So what does that have to do with the title? Well, here's the thing. I am a traditional conservative. I don't have no tattoos. I don't drink like that. I don't smoke. As far as how I live my life in a very conservative fashion. You know, it is what it is. It's what I do. This is not to say that I'm like uptight or anything about anything. I'm not. This is just how I choose to do. This is not to say I can't be around certain people. This is not to say that I line up hand in hand with everything everything that you know, quote unquote, what you would consider political black conservatism is, and all of that. That doesn't mean that. I'm more of an independent in that sense. But I've said this before and I'll say it again. There's a difference between a lot of the political black conservatives, where they kind of get up under white folks, and then there's a difference between traditional black conservatism. And I think, and the reason why Pink Book kind of like inspired me to do this video is because one of the things she was talking about in a recent video she put up, which is 7 minutes long, was talking about the concept of shame. And obviously this is something we've obviously said before, but hearing it kind of how she said it and everything, you know, especially in the context of these bitches, and they are bitches. I'm sorry, if you twerk on the table, you're a bitch. I'm just gonna look at you like that. You're a bitch. I'm sorry. You can feel whatever you want to feel about it, but you're a bitch. Only bitches do that. Like Donnie said, you know, it's a fucking mating call. And these are the same chicks that'll talk about they're not safe, they're not protected, Me Too, all of that. They can't rest in their femininity. But these are chicks they'll you know, do a mating call on the table in front of everybody. These are the same bitches that'll sit there and say, shout out to her again, talking about, oh well, you know, we can't talk about this stuff in front of other races. I'm like, social media is public, you dumb fuck. These are the same women that will circle the wagons around women that embarrass black women on the daily, but they want to talk about, we can't talk about shit on other races, as if like a non-black woman can't just look up world star hip hop, or a non-black person, as if they can't look at the rap music, as if they can't look at everything that we all see. You think if we see it, these other people don't see it? This is where you start to get so insular, you start to get stupid. And you notice that, you know, you only really hear women say that. You can't, you know, do stuff in front of other races, certain conversations, or you hear dudes that are trying to like make a plea to females to do it. So as far as kind of talking about the conservative thing, here's some of my thoughts on that and critiques on that. Number one, black conservatives don't listen. They think they're right. They think that is what it is. And they're very much defined by being anti. It's kind of like talking to an atheist in context of Christianity, or talking to a Christian in context of wanting to call out the black church for they're very much a lot of fuckery they've done and a lot of stuff that they leech on the community. And there's other people. Same thing with calling out pro black people for them being gynocentric and being very matriarchal. I'm talking about the men. It's the same thing about when you call people like I don't even if I call passport pros out for some of the things they need to improve. People don't like to hear that, and black people tend to fall in their defense forces, shields up, and in defensive schemes rather than just taking a deep breath and be like, okay, what exactly are you saying and why? And is there any validity to it? Now, I'll respond like the best of them, but generally I try to understand, okay, let me see if I can actually understand where this motherfucker really, really is coming from. If anything else, just to see if he's really full of shit and he just doesn't know it yet or what. But in that sense, that's good faith. Most people don't do that. They just want to argue, argue, argue. They want to argue, 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 and that's what motherfuckers are doing because they start saying the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over and over again in the context of an actual direct conversation. These will be the same people like Big J, Triple X, which nobody gives a fuck, nobody wants to hear. This is nobody, that motherfucker can't pull 30 people in 1 o'clock in the afternoon where ain't nobody working. But he wants to sit there and tell everybody else what he thinks the manosphere should fucking do. And think being loud is going to make a fucking difference. So he basically goes on other people's platforms and then basically leeches off of that. But anyway, I digress from that. But another thing black conservatives don't do, and this is probably the most important thing I'm going to say, is black conservatives, what they don't tend, number one, all black conservatives are not created equal. There's different factions of black conservatives. Like Jason Black is a traditional black conservative. But I wouldn't say, Jason Black ain't on some kiss white ass bullshit. And I'm more lean that way. I am a traditional black conservative. Just like how you grow up, if you grow up and you're a Christian and you're like, okay, I'm a cultural Christian. I'm somebody that, I'm not out here wanting to get all. And understand something. Do what you do. I don't give a fuck. But I'm saying I'm giving the separation. Not saying one is better necessarily. But when you got people where they get not 1 or 2 tattoos, but they want to have tattoos all over their body. We're talking about females now. You got motherfuckers. I am somebody where that's a judgment call. That is. Now people say, well, you say that, but you promote Love Dorsey. What Love Dorsey says, as far as common sense, her ability to communicate with people like this, is above what the fuck she tattoos she got. That's number one. Number two, she's with a guy that's equally yoked to her. So this is not about me saying that I can't talk to a person, engage with a person, work with a person, but I'm talking about from a cultural standpoint. And understand something, what you do is always going to be more important than how you look. But how you look can be an indicator. So people always want to be all purist and shit. I get tired of that shit because that's some low IQ shit to me. So anyway, there's that. But there is a judgment there. And that's why I don't go too hard on people to make that judgment. That's number one. Number two, when you got actions like twerking, like people wanna it's not about the street shit. It's about the negative aspects of street shit. Motherfuckers want to try to promote that as like an idea of masculinity and what you've been through. Like somebody's supposed to give a fuck. And you see this a lot of times with people like to make the square and lane comparison. Like seriously, only black people like have this thing about social value is like the ultimate currency. And that's a big reason why we are where we are. Niggas will talk about game. Oh, nigga, you either got game or you a square. Nigga, we need more people doing square shit than we need motherfuckers doing alternative shit. That's a big reason why we don't own shit. But nobody never looks at that. Game, and we should we should be consistently consistent. And black people don't seem to understand that. So as far as, and that's what really black conservative really should be really fighting for, right? doing things the traditional route. Now, some people will say, well, what about marriage? Well, number one, that is one topic. But understand, my thing on marriage is the laws need to change. So if you really are about marriage, and you should be about creating a legal environment that incentivizes people to want to get married. And I'm talking about the breadwinners. So that's my take on that. Everybody doesn't line up one by one on it. Just like with abortion. Me personally, I don't really care about abortion like that. But I think women don't deserve the right to kill it, to basically have an abortion, because they clearly don't know how to handle it. We've had what, 1973, what, almost it'll be 50 years. Literally, that's it. 50 years. In 2 years. And you clearly see what black women's done with it. You see what's going on with the white community. Just done with it. The women can't handle it. They really can't. They really can't. And you're not going to make the argument that the majority of women can handle the ability to abort. I can argue the ability for a woman to actually kill a child has probably fucked a lot of women up mentally and paved the way for a lot of mental shit that's going on today. But nobody wants to talk about that because that wouldn't be politically correct to say. Now, would it? A lot of these cultural viruses. But I think when I look at what is the value of black conservatism in the context of black people? Well, quite frankly, and Mike V kind of says culture warriors are cowards, and I'm like, if you and shout out to Mike V, but I'm like, real talk, if you can't look at this community and then understand that there definitely needs to be like a pushback on culture in the black community. Fuck the political aspects. Fuck what the white people insert into it. I'm talking about both liberals and conservatives. I'm talking about us amongst ourselves. If you do not think that there is not a serious thing that needs to happen, I don't know what the fuck community you're looking at. And I almost call in the question, do you even care about the ADOS black community? Like I would call it, because you can't look at this community and like see that there's like a like that pin, like there is like scorched earth shit that needs to happen. Like dead ass. So when you look at, and the problem is, I think a lot of that, see, black conservatives spend way too much time defending what white folks do. They're going to do what they do regardless. And that's the problem. The problem is that we spend the majority of our time not arguing about, like, let me give you a perfect example. Pink Book talked about the turkey leg incident. I think that's in Houston, Texas. You then got the Dallas, Texas incident with the dude from a year ago with the women twerking on the table. People forgot about that. Then you got the turkey leg incident. For those of y'all don't know, is like they created a dress code, and this is like a black couple ran business, popular, restaurant joint, and then people got upset and that they were getting shamed and whatever. They want to try to say that's being racist and all of that. And then you got the incident that's recent about this going to start going around about the females twerking on the table. I think that was a white establishment. And then motherfuckers are recording. You notice how there was nobody out there to tell them there's white people around. Why would you do that in a place like this? You notice how when women are twerking and shit, all these females that like to talking about our like, you don't want to tell our business. They're nowhere to be found when it comes to shit like this. You notice that, right? That's another form of them circling the wagons, and they need to be called on that, like directly. But the point is, when you look at all of those incidents, what you have is a degradation of shame, a degradation of culture, where people think they can do what they want and there's no consequence to that, even though they're making black people look bad. And the reality is, the way you handle people like that is basically you label their ass. They'll be like, look, these people are separate from what the group is. Or even if black people that are more conservative are the minority, be that minority. And yes, well, white people are still going to be racist. Yes, they are. And you can't help that. But everybody ain't going to be that way. It's a part of branding. And that's really what you got to look at it with. And then you have to, and so it needs to be cultural separations. And this is not to say that, like, black people can't engage in nothing, but you have to know, you have to be able to come back to the code of conduct. You have to be able to refract to that real quick. You know, you have to understand how to jump in and out of that, and really and stay generally in what you're supposed to be in, then be out. Like for me, I listen to rap music. Well, I up to like 2013, 2014, 2015. I listen to rap music. I listen to mainstream rap music, right? But like I can listen to Rick Ross and all day, every day. You know, Push It to the Limit. Scarface is one of my favorite movies. But you know what? I can look at that for a metaphor as far as a motivation of capitalism and get it in the mud. Motherfuckers really look at that as an instruction manual on how to sell dope. You got niggas that are that stupid. You got niggas that are that stupid that they use that as a way to romanticize what they already do, or they use rap music to romanticize what they already do. You know, you think I'm lying? Look at all these new rappers that they get caught up in jail. They doing kiss kiss bang bang in Chicago, and then they'll move to Atlanta and do it in Atlanta, to the point where they actually try to promote that crime. They're trying to make it like crime should be limited as much as possible. And shout out to Fantastic, because when everybody was talking about, you know, me, I was more on, yeah, you know, fuck the police, as far as you know, I don't think necessarily it should be defunded, but I think the threat of it should be real and present for cops. I think it should be. And I think people should have a certain level of control over how they're policed. But again, when you look at us, we take shit to a place where it shouldn't be taken. But Fantastic, Charles Faulkner, they were all against that. And then people tried to call them out on some anti-pro black shit for being against that. But you can look at a city like Atlanta, and you can look at a city like Atlanta in particular and see that's bullshit. Some of you Negroes need to be heavily regulated, and I'm saying that right now. Some of you all, and you know, people got mad when Trump said it, but there's a lot of black people that believe that. And I'm not talking about your Candace Owens types. I'm not talking about your Tatum's types or your Anthony Brown Logans. Even guys like Glenn, like when you look at Glenn Cameron and look at the video he did, you know, he don't really try to bring race into stuff, and he don't like Trump at all, at all, at all. But he will let you know. But when you actually look at what he's had to deal with his business, his car business, because you know, Glenn Cameron has been a digital business owner for the longest time. You know, but when you look at what he's got out here in the streets, these motherfuckers are off the goddamn chains. And they chill, they know no chill. And what a lot of these dumbasses don't understand is this is the type of shit that paved the way for a lot of black people getting on board with mass incarceration. This is how they see, and this is what people don't want to talk about. And I'm going to say this right now because, you know, we got Biden in office. Look, Biden has some racial tendencies. I'm not going to act like he doesn't. I think Biden and Trump is pretty much the same person as far as in that way, you know, and I think Trump got a lot more heat for it. I think Biden gets an absolute pass with some of the, like, I really believe. And so it really shows you how black people are full of shit on that. But what I will say about Biden is that Biden didn't just come up with this shit out of nowhere. A lot of black people, and let's be absolutely clear, black women understood early on they wouldn't be locked up like a motherfucker. They knew that. So they didn't. So black women did, and it's black men too. A lot of your pastors and all of that, you know, Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, all of them, that group, Maxine Waters, they knew. They said it's just like when black boys get out of control, you gotta kick them out. That's what they did, and that's when a lot of them laws changed. And at the time, it was a lot more. See, that's what they won't say. It was a lot more black support before they really realized what they actually did. Jim Clyburn too, and how much that shit got pushed, how they like overdid it, and how they turned it into like kind of a weapon. But it was a lot of people. They were tired of black people doing that. And so when I talk to like street mom, it's like y'all don't understand that when people don't give a fuck. Look, when it's time for them white people to come get your ass, like even like Jason Black has talked about that from a perspective of gentrification. Folks that did the right thing, that they can deal with the prices getting higher, they just gonna be quiet. They not gonna promote. They may not be like Candace Owens and Brandon Tatum start promoting this shit, saying yeah. But what they gonna do is they just gonna pull back and not say nothing. They gonna have quiet. They gonna be quietly supporting it, like straight up. Because they understand if they have a conversation, some Jews talk about this. If they have a conversation with you Negroes, they know how you Negroes are going to act. You all are going to just emotionally throw up. So what they do, yeah, Grizzly, I'm up. That is what it is. I'm like doing some computer shit, and I said, fuck it, let me do a video. So, and this is something a little bit different. So y'all can catch it in the morning on the play by, like, speed it up. But yeah, they don't give a fuck, yo. And that's what happens. So when y'all get they like, look, that ain't gonna affect me. Oh, well, they don't like you either. Yeah, I'll cross that bridge when I gotta cross it. That's where a lot of black people are. Because really what you saying is you're saying I either need to put up with your redneck nigga shit or take my chances. And y'all don't understand. Like David Carroll talked about this. Y'all don't understand that y'all really fuck shit up so bad that a lot of black people just willing to take their chances. This is why motherfuckers move to the suburbs and shit. Where motherfuckers fuck up is we don't do a good job at really rallying around like-minded people where we are like-minded. That's not the problem. That's a personal problem. But it needs to be clear. I would really like to see more inner debates with black conservatives. Like, look, you got a traditional faction. You got like the anti-liberal Democratic faction, which that kind of is a through line with all of the factions, to be honest with you. It's just to the degrees of that you want to really implement. Then you got the, I'm going to call hyper assimilationist faction. I don't want to call them out their name, but a hyper assimilationist faction, which is folks that they try to undercut racism and shit. And I understand why people say that, because you want to kind of have a complete opposite end. But my thing is, my stance on that is racism definitely exists. White supremacy exists, but black people make that shit run like a well-oiled machine with how fucking stupid we are. And white supremacy is not a conservative thing. That is a white supremacy thing. So that is also in the Democratic liberalism. So if you can't call out white supremacy on both sides and you're not as triggered, like if you can sit there and accept the LGBT shit, but then you got a problem with folks that like Trump, you're a fucking hypocrite. And you're a hypocrite. Dr. Francis Quest Welsing talked about how if you can't understand this gynocracy shit and how it harms the community, let me be very clear here. The liberalism harms the community a lot more deeper than what a lot of motherfuckers kissing white ass do. I'm just going to, like, that just needs to be said, because what it does, it's like the difference between a virus and a disease. A disease is generally manufactured out of poor, it's more internal than a virus. A disease is pretty much like the body not operating right, and then you call what that dysfunction is a disease. A virus is something that is something that got in you. And diseases are generally harder to deal with than viruses. And so even when you look at like the baby right now, the baby, O'Shea did a video on this. It was a good video. The baby had to apologize because he wanted to like test out the water when it comes to this LGBT shit. And he found out what group economics was real quick. And that's the beauty of dealing in smaller numbers. Yeah, they're absolutely worse. You're absolutely right, Ezreal. And we can't have these conversations because you got niggas that want to kiss bitches' ass because there's a financial incentive to do it. And then there's obviously the female validation incentive. Like Grinch talks about that part. And so what happens is when it's time for political season to happen, now we get all these arguments that just are just emotionally people throwing up at each other. Rather than really having these arguments before. And this is going to be something I'm going to start doing, because I think that there needs to be clear lines drawn. So when you deal with a female like Amira, this stuff can already be established, and it's not just black people defaulting in their emotional bullshit, or they're like, because that's what it was. And that was never truly contextualized in the way that it should, because honestly, Courtney was like pretty much on why is she here? She's not black. And I'm like, look, man, at the end of the day, there's a certain amount of black people that they are open to dating out because quite frankly, they can't get what they need to get in-house. It ain't no that they hate black people. It's just y'all are on one. And you can feel the way you want to feel. But Amira is a real representation of certain people. Now, this is, but she don't like you. Her family don't like you. Yo fucking family don't like me. Like these women love to talk shit. Black women will say shit as if you're the best choice. Like, I don't think you really understand how much you've lowered the bar. They want to play the devil you know bullshit. They literally want to play it's better the devil you know. No, bitch, it's better. I will roll the dice. Like, you better, man, please get the fuck out of here. You know? And is black men gonna start getting with Muslim women? No, but you had that Latin chick that was on there. Like, we don't have to cross the divide like that. And even still, like, there's a black men are 6% of the population. Even if you want to keep it black, you know, intercultural dating, I mean, please. And all you really need is the top 20-25% of black men. And if you're in 50%, you make 50,000 a year, you're in the top 25%. People say, well, that's not a lot of money. Fine, but mathematics is mathematics. That's still within the percentage. So you don't have to, all you got to do is move a lot of the dudes that are the economic producers. Well, my thing is, you know, Amira has conducted herself very well on that show. But the thing about it is, if you leave a vacuum where it's just black conservatives that are like Anthony Brian Logan and Tatum, which those are actually two different factions. Anthony Brian Logan is more of a mercenary. I do believe he's kind of like how O'Shea is with Pan-Africanism. O'Shea believes in it already, but if he gonna make $1 over it and then he gonna help people at the same time, like I said, passion profits purpose. It gives him purpose because he's adding more to the world, or it's people he's taking away. He's passionate about it, and then he's making money. That's the trifecta. I think Anthony Brian Logan is kind of similar to that. I don't think he has a lot of defections. There's not a lot of defection compromises Anthony Brian Logan makes with his audience, I don't think. Tatum is like a true believer, where Tatum really is on some like, I just gonna believe what I'm gonna believe, and that's what I believe. I think Candace Owens is kind of like Anthony Brian Logan in that sense. You know, so there's other people too that I'm not mentioning, like the woman that ran into it with Tommy Sotomayor. There's more hood. Then you got like the hood conservatives, but which I kind of have my kind of thoughts on that too, because I think a lot of them, you know, the good thing, like, and I'm be honest with you, I would be interested to see where Laura Dorsey lines up in that, because it's very possible that she might wind up in more, even though she has her tattoo stuff, but still when it comes to acting like you got some sense. Well, I hear what you're saying as far as dating a millionaire. First of all, and see, like, motherfuckers kill me with that shit. Anybody that's saying that, like, you need to make 6 figures to be a husband, that bitch don't know what the fuck. Like that's somebody that don't even need that's a woman that's destined to be a baby mama. Because women that say that shit, and I'm curious, Black Mind, you could actually do videos on this, given that you kind of have a much more familiarity with, like, Islam than, like, most of us do in the manosphere. But any female that sits there and look, okay, I get it if you live in New York, San Francisco, if you live in extremely high cost of living cities, so that's like 4 cities like that. Yeah, I know New York, San Fran, LA, those are 3. Chicago is kind of iffy because you can live outside the city, but those 3 definitely, look, I get it. Okay, you got high cost of living. Outside of that, but see, you still supposed to be smart enough to realize that's not how the nation goes. Like, for real. But outside of that, you know, if you talking that bullshit, you're just not serious. You're not serious, and you're gonna be a baby mama, because what's gonna happen is your sexual. This is why I say single motherhood is a mental illness, what I call a cultural mental illness. And single motherhood, you're a single mother way before you ever have a child, because we know sexually, you're gonna make exceptions for. You're going to make exceptions for dudes that you're sexually attracted to. Dudes that can put you in lust, that you can get all that money bullshit. You're not going to have the discipline to do that, especially with the culture Black women have. Black women will have a baby with a dude in a second. They don't see that. And that's where I'm sorry, BGS definitely, Kevin needs to, like, really take that shit and promote that village wife shit. Because really, we call these Black women single mothers. The reality is that I don't like to call them village wives, because they are what they are, single mothers. But that's really what's behind that, is this culture of being a village wife. And and when black people were married more, it was still there because black people were married more, but they were doing it within the context of marriage, and they just wouldn't get divorced and shit like that. But the reality is that's some shit that's very real, and black women are very much like that. And a lot of black men are not like that. A lot of black men are not interested in fucking having kids. You got niggas that don't give a fuck, and this gives them an opportunity to spread their seed and fulfill their biological imperative. But I would argue most black men are not really on some, I want to have a whole bunch of bitches with a whole bunch of kids, because they understand that creates problems. They're not on that. They're not. And this is where you see a lot of those cultural and political divides. A lot of these women, that's what they're on. And they lie, they're deceptive as hell. And then we got to fight through the lies and the deceptions. This is where I'm going to tell you that fake femininity shit. I'm glad Pink Book is pushing that. Jessica X has been pushing that. That's some shit that's going to be pushed, because these women are going to understand, bitch, you're being watched. It doesn't matter what you say. And I know Kendra G said one time that, oh well, all the work Shahrazad Ali did, y'all would throw her under the bus. Yes, because you know what the difference between Shahrazad Ali and Dr. Frances Welsing is she's dead. We know what the end of her book is. We don't know what the end of Shahrazad Ali is. We know what the end of Dr. Frances Welsing's book is. And yes, men should always be watching you. And as Grinch said, it is not impossible. Nobody is unfuckwittable. And yes, you'll get a point where you're not being watched as much, or you're not really being watched unless you just do something like an unforced error. Like technically, her coming and Grinch said it. I'm glad Grinch said it, because it was not my place to say it, because Grinch is in that camp. When I saw that video he did, it was 40 minutes long, like 39 minutes long, and then Kendra was talking in the chat, and then he was responding to it. And then she was talking about how, oh man, I did what was right and all. Like, nah, no, it was like it may have been morally right, but tactically it was dumb. It was tactically dumb. And Grinch was trying to say it from a good faith perspective. And Grinch was definitely advocating. He was definitely communicating what we all think. Well, Black Mind, here's the thing. The thing about what they don't tell you about non-black folks, and this is when you deal in international market, I know you know this. As a black man, you're going to be sized up from a class perspective. I mean, obviously they'll size you up looks wise, but they're going to size you up from a class perspective too. Now, it's a lot of these people won't deal with black people because they won't deal with black people. Now, here's another thing that doesn't get talked about. The color divide is not the same outside the United States as in the United States. So Black Mind, you're light skinned, I'm light skinned, Clutch is light skinned, and One Master Teacher's light skinned. So we more favor their skin tone. So in a way, so that's actually another marker. So when they talk about black, like even Dominican Republic, you look at a guy like Dennis Sperling, that's going to be looked at differently. That's not going to be seen as, oh, they're looking at black. But so there's a lot of layers to that people don't want to talk about. Now, this is not to say that if you're black, they're automatically judge you. But the point is, you're going to deal with a lot of people. They're going to size you up from a class perspective. They're going to look at you in a different way. This doesn't mean you have to look like some Carlton or Alfonso thing and be a square. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying, because there's degrees to being like a square and then being just full blown. You just look like you just can't be in an office meeting. You just look like those are two different spectrums. And people like to act like it's either one or the other, because black people like to be simple minded like that, because they don't want to have a nuanced conversation. But it's not that simple. It's not. So, and again, when women do what they do, again, everything they do is from a sexual politics standpoint, especially in the West, because it's all manipulation. Even the ones that want to act like they're on the team, you still got to watch out for them sometimes. Yeah, I think that's a good starting point there. So yeah, I get why she thought she could go in like she could go in. I get why she thought that, but at the end of the day, man, what she didn't know is Anton already made his decision. And Anton was probably looking at the feedback from his audience, and that just reaffirmed what he already wanted to do. So he's not going to give a fuck about Courtney, what Courtney thinks on that end. And see, that's where the side of Anton that a lot that people don't like is going to come out. But also at the same time, these women, you can't, like, you think you really, no, you can't, you think you going to put a stern voice on them. It really shows you don't know who you really talking to. Yeah, black mind. And see, again, because very few, I mean, and be fair, only 20% of Americans in general have passports. You don't understand that context. So the nuances are different. And this is also another reason why light skinned dudes don't give a fuck about dark skinned dudes getting as much shine as they do in the United States. Because we don't need that like validation like that. We just don't. Even in the United States. And so we don't operate with the same kind of bullshit that some folks do. And so we like, look, you can have it. It's better you have it than I have it. And then you want to fight me all the goddamn time because you feel some type of way. I'd rather be like it is. So when you can't, so then now I'm done with that. So let me see what y'all looking at. Yeah, no one is above reproach. I don't care how much you're doing. Yeah, how much you're doing does count for something. But there's an unforgivable sin is an unforgivable sin. There's no say like. Well, I mean, everybody's And honestly, if she's on that bullshit is gonna come out. That bullshit is definitely gonna come out. That's why I'm not worried about it. Cause it's like that bullshit's gonna come out. Oh man, will you help it build her platform? Nigga, her platform don't even look aimed at black people. So if you got the majority of black people on your platform, that's not gonna do nothing. Also, if she really wanted to do something, she talked to Anthony Brian Logan, talked to there's people she could talk to. There's definitely people she could talk to. And she's got 37,000 subscribers on her own. So I mean, like, no, like people, but see, all of that is, motherfuckers want to, they want to politic, and I hate. And honestly, if you haven't noticed, I don't like when people politic because I think it's hustling, it's con, and it's game. I don't like that. I think that if you're really, because to me, when you're politicking, it's kind of you're showing I can't trust you. Like a perfect example of a nigga politicking was the dude when he came on Bernard Riley shit, and I'm glad Bernard Riley kept that shit up. Well, I mean, my problem, Azrael, is I'm not out here. If you notice, I'm not really here to call women names. Oh, well, this person is a strag, this person is simp, this person is this. Because I think the problem is, people, again, that goes back to that, like, it's either this or that thing. People want to, like, that's why people love Dorsey's a strag, love Dorsey, like, it's too simple minded. And the world is a lot more in real time than that. And too many people like to be intellectually lazy, so they just label people. And it's not, and I label people too, but I label people in their proper position. I don't have these like it's either this or that. They're either feminine or a strag. No, I don't do that. I have a lot more different categories. That's probably the marketer in me. But I'm not, no. Now, what do I think? I'm sure you all have my thoughts on. I've been on a couple of panels. I was on Melody's panel. I had to leave that panel because Big J was just acting like an asshole. I'm like, nigga, shut your. I hate niggas that they think being loud is gonna, nigga. Just because you're loud doesn't make you right. Shut up. And Big J X, it's like, nigga, nobody gives a fuck about what you have to say. Okay? Like, niggas, I got 88 people that listen to me right now. They do not listen to me for me to tell motherfuckers we need to go back to the community to save these kids. And the Black Manosphere needs to be a political organization. That is not why people listen to me. You know, people kill me with that bullshit. Nigga, I'm a purist. That's not what the Mansphere is for. I'm like, you bitch ass nigga. My channel is for what the fuck I say my channel is for. And if people want to listen to it, they can. If they don't, they don't. My channel, I like, nigga, you don't like, and this is what niggas like that don't understand. They actually think, and you know what kills me, and this is, you know, Kendra said one thing. Kendra said is, she said, I like in the chat, I did not understand why just black men just overwhelmingly like rejected shit before they even had a chance to do shit. I'm gonna answer that question for Kendra. You know why, Kendra? And I say this in good faith. It's because of niggas like Big J Triple X. It's because you know, you got motherfuckers that even before a goddamn trademark, you got motherfuckers trying to tell folks what the fucking do with their channels. So you got too many motherfuckers that's got a propensity to think they got the right to tell somebody else what to do with their shit. Like, I put time in this shit. I've been on this bitch for an hour. And yes, I appreciate y'all donations, and I do it because I want to do it. But understand something. I definitely don't want to be told what the fuck I'm supposed to say in a country that's freedom of speech. And you got folks that they are constantly trying to tell motherfuckers what they think the manosphere should be, and then they become the anti-manosphere. Then you look at people like Super Sly, shit like that, like they only show the fuck up. They only show the fuck up when they want to tell somebody what the fuck they ain't doing. You just got all these people that they got these opinions. They got these opinions on what somebody does. And then, and it's not just them, you know, oh, what this space is supposed to be and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, yo, at the end of the day, each by person is an individual YouTube channel. Like, straight like that. You want to consolidate relationships like O'Shea did it, or Donovan. Donovan's like, take O'Shea out of it. Donovan's actually a perfect example of that too, outside of that, because he's kind of outside of this space with him doing it. Then, hey, that's your prerogative, but you're not gonna get people to do what the fuck you need to do. Nobody's gonna create a turn. Look, man, when I bring people into my stuff, I say, look, man, at the end of the day, I can give you all the templates in the world. I can make it so you got to think as little as possible. At the end of the day, you got to do shit. You got to pick up the phone and call somebody. You got to, you know, talk to somebody online. You got to create a piece of content and get that shit promoted to where people can find you. You got to do something, or you got to put up the money to buy the traffic. You're going to have to do something. I can show you how to do it for free with some elbow grease. I can show you how to do it without elbow grease and get paid. You pick what the fuck you want to do, but you're going to have to do something. There is no cheat code. There is no hustle code. That's why a lot of people are so interested in Forex and cryptocurrency. They want to just put money somewhere and the money machine gives them shit back. Shout out to Glenn and Cameron, who's been really railing against that. That's really what it is. Right? So going back, you know, you got people that they want to tell you what to do. And then so you already know when they think they got a trademark, and then you get the dude up here, he talk about we, us, and all them niggas sound like one motherfucker. Shout out to Dardar for the $5 cash app. All these motherfuckers sound like the same nigga. I swear, I know that wasn't just me. Sheep Stay Sleep and this other dude Father Time. And it's like, nigga, you think, yeah, man, I'm a real ass nigga. We go talk to these niggas like real ass nigga. Nigga, you're dealing with people that are even the street folks. They're more conservative in nature. That shit don't move us. That shit don't move us. You're gonna have to actually make valid points. That shit does not move us. You got somebody like BGS who shouldn't have to explain himself, but he does. That shit don't move us. It doesn't. And if you've been in here since 2008, you should know that. You may have known of this space that long, because in that sense, hell, I did for like maybe 5 months. I did a stream with Soul and Black on Blog Talk. You want to play that game? Oh, I donate, I support. Yo, that's what MOT did. And guess what MOT did? He created a YouTube channel and got his support. He got 20,000 people off rip. MOT would get more respect trying to do that. And that's been talked about. Not doing no trademarks, but at least doing a website, Remember what I said with my classic black men thing? Notice I didn't take the black manosphere. Notice I ain't even, you know? And it's like, you're not going to cheat code your way around this. And there's a reason why that hasn't been done yet. And everybody keeps coming back to, y'all dropped the ball. Okay, let me say this. Okay, I'm taking Ramil out of this. Ramil is the one exception to this rule. Okay, because I understand where Ramil is coming from. And I know Ramil is talking in good faith. Outside of Ramil, anybody saying that shit, man, shut your bitch ass up. You know why Ramil can say that? Because Ramil got his own shit trademark. Because Ramil been telling motherfuckers to trademark. Shout out to Carl the Tactician. Ramil been dropping game on his Patreon. So Ramil is just repeating the same shit he's been saying that's been helping people out. The rest of y'all motherfuckers, some of y'all don't even have YouTube channels. And y'all are sitting there, oh man, I do shit outside. Man, I don't know what the fuck you do. I don't like, a lot of y'all want to act like y'all do all this stuff. Let me tell you something. You notice I don't promote the shit I do. I don't sit here and say, I do this, I do that, I make this, I make that. So therefore, big bank, little bank, shut the fuck up. You not on my, I don't do like, shout out to Fantastic. Fantastic be like, you niggas ain't even winning in life. Grinch does that too. If you notice, I don't do that. Because I'm like, I don't want to say what the fuck I'm doing, because I don't trust you niggas like that. And so I'm going to take that out of the debate. I'm not going to enter that into it, because anything I shoot can be shot back. And there's reasons for that. It ain't because I'd be exposed. I have other reasons for that. But I don't bring that into it. So as far as I'm concerned, if you're not like Dennis Sperling or Pocket Watch with JT, where we see what the fuck you do, or you like Grinch, where you trucking, if we know you don't work for this, you like Jay Shine, but we know you work for like, high level contractor or MOT, like that's known. I don't give a fuck about what you think you do. That's cap as far as I'm concerned. If I can't see it, it's cap. So you're not gonna say, well, I do shit outside, so therefore, well, if you doing it like that, it should be enough for you to create a YouTube channel and get an audience and get some advice. You look at what Dennis Sperling did off the strength of his credibility. MOT before him, same thing with lead attorney. You don't necessarily got to show your face. Why does it seem like ain't nobody? I know it's late. It seems like ain't nobody chatting. Damn, man. I cleared all the cookies because I was paying a fucking bill and that shit didn't go. It wasn't working like I wanted. And now, like, I had signed in all my shit. Don't you hate that shit? I had signed in all my shit. My shit taking forever to load. Yeah. So motherfuckers are sitting here talking about, oh man, you dropped the ball. And I'm like, yo, even Ramil, I was pushing back on that, but I understood where Ramil was coming from. And I know Ramil says what he says in good faith. There's a reason why Ramil has the trust of the people that he has. But anybody else saying that, like when I was hearing that on Melody shit, I was really wanting to tell them niggas shut the fuck up, man, like for real. Because all you doing is repeating some shit that somebody else said, number one. And number two. Hold on one second. No, it's like, cause I'm looking at the chat through StreamYard. No, absolutely, Darian. Yeah, man, I'm on one. Get caught up. Don't like man, y'all go to sleep. Don't be up here listening to me, because I don't want y'all niggas blaming me for why y'all couldn't get up in the morning. Y'all got fired. So y'all catch this on a replay. I've tried to listen to myself. Like I know I talk pretty fast. No, absolutely. No, it ain't that. It's cool. Like I'm just seeing. I didn't know it was a technical issue, but no, yeah, niggas talk about, oh, but you dropped the ball because you didn't get, you didn't trademark the black manosphere. Nobody came into this with the intention of creating a bit. Okay, so let me explain something to the dumb fucks out there, to the idiots out there. Okay, to you stupid motherfuckers that you think you got an opinion but you don't know shit. Okay. Let me tell you something. Nobody came in this motherfucker with the intention of creating a business. 1.0 didn't really do that. They had some things they tried with a website, but that was more spreading the message of anything. And 2.0 really didn't come in here with the objective of actually creating a business. That's number one. That's why you don't see all this merchandising and shit like that. Because you know what? If motherfuckers were real business heavy like that, then that would be something to be used to say, oh man, y'all just making money exploiting black women. And a lot of that would be taken away from the message. That's why you don't see people. That's why even with somebody like O'Shea can monetize this shit a hell of a lot more than he does. Now, there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that he does. Like, for example, he talked about how he gets consultant fees and stuff like that. Just like with Angry Man, a lot of people be begging Angry Man to do graphic design, and he's always said no. But so you got that part. You got some people that do like the life coach consulting, which I don't do. I purposely don't do that. And I'm not against people that do that. Shout out to J.R. Wisdom. He does that. And he's got the experience to do that. He got, using Calendly, that website, great website. People are, you see the women doing that. Ain't nobody really trying to hustle y'all like that. So we say, look, man, if you want to donate. Now, down the road, I might do t-shirts. Down the road, I may do all this. But at the end of the day, the most important part is there's a reason why the donations is preferred, because we allow you all to control that. Not necessarily us sitting here saying buy a fucking t-shirt and all of that, and then y'all over marked up prices and stuff. So now it takes away from why we do what we do. It really does, right? And so you try to find ways to monetize in a way that's not like that. That's why you have stuff like Patreon, stuff like that. But even with me, like I'll tell you right now, if I do my Patreon, it's gonna be just a place to park my unlisted content. It's not gonna be a place. That's just me. I'm not saying nothing about people that do it, but there's a reason that this stuff hasn't been completely business wise. Now we're at a point now where if we don't do it, other people are going to do it. But see, the problem with us is we still haven't codified the audience. The biggest thing that the manosphere needs to do better is codify the audience, meaning really aggregate the audience, build the audience, get around the algorithm as far as us getting our message out, videos out, stuff like that. Yes. But when these niggas talk about we dropped the ball because we didn't trademark the Black Manosphere, the Black Manosphere is not this corporation, this entity. Now, let's say if somebody, here's the truth about it. Trademarking the Black Manosphere, let's say trademarking the Black Manosphere does not protect the Black Manosphere from jack shit. It really doesn't. Let's say Angry Man did trademark it. And let's say he trademarked it just for the point, people donated to him so he can maintain it, but it was really just so nobody else will take it. Okay, fine. The reality is if somebody really wanted to throw dirt on the Black Manosphere, all they got to do is say red pill black men in the Manosphere, not the Black Manosphere. All you got to do is take up the search engine ranking positions. You spread out the negativity. You spread out lies to see, typical shit they do. Like you trademarking the Black Manosphere don't mean nothing. You trademarking the Black Manosphere doesn't mean that, okay, on behalf of an entire Black male YouTube community, we sue you under this brand. You can do that anyway. Like we could take somebody like O'Shea, like perfect example. Dr. Clark Anderson has an ongoing lawsuit, like for reparations and for mainly for the Indians, like for like the Black people who's gotten fucked over, the black people that are Indian Native Americans that never got their just due, like the $5 Indians, as he says. He's got an ongoing lawsuit on that. That's been going on for years. A lot of y'all don't know about that. A lot of y'all donating to Umar, but not donating to Dr. Clark Anderson. Shame on you. But the thing about it is, he has his own group, yes, that nobody knows. They like because we don't promote it as much as we should. But the reality is, just like how Dr. Son Johnson has it, but the reality of the situation is that's one dude. We can aggregate around the dude. Same thing with O'Shea. You Tariq Nasheed, what do he have his thing like Melanoid? He had his blog Melanoid Nation. You got Voice Your Black World. It's not that complicated for you to support people through various entities. It's not. And to be fair, yes, there is is it smart to create like an organization? Sure. But just like how Black Lives Matter, think about it. Black Lives Matter was really created with 3 Black females. That's all it was. It wasn't all these people. It was just 3 people. And then they leveraged the relationships between them. So just like how O'Shea, you could do a thing with O'Shea, Kevin, and Obsidian. That's it. And then everybody else just goes up under them. That's why I was trying to tell Obsidian. I said, Obsidian, you know, and it's like, what do you bring? Well, we know O'Shea brings relationships. Kevin Green at this point brings the clout. They both bring money. Obsidian, you know, is kind of there because, you know, it's kind of like, you know, with Yvette and Tone created Ados, but they took it away from the original person that created Ados. So I guess there's kind of non-tangible stuff there. And then obviously Obsidian has a book that can be promoted that they all don't have. So there are assets that Obsidian has that they don't have. There's assets that each one of them has. Not to say that they couldn't, like, obviously Kevin can get the relationships O'Shea has, but that takes time. And are you really trying to move? And there's trust amongst all three of them, even though O'Shea, you know, it's something about black men. When black men have kind of gone at each other and been able to make up and move on from that, you tend to understand the limits of people. And so even though we do that, it kind of works out better because it's like, okay, you kind of know where their buttons are and stuff. You know, so all it would take is those three to do that, and they could do that under the guise of the Negro Manosphere. Obsidian has written for the Negro Manosphere. You know, obviously, you know, he has a book to promote. You could do one on Negro Man. You know, Kevin, honestly, Kevin could create a network complete. Like, well, hold on, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. If y'all want to talk about organization, it doesn't take that much. That's why I know when a lot of y'all niggas talk that shit. Shout out to George Bacon, who's doing things on the ground. Q Butter gets on my nerves with this pro-black simp bullshit he's doing for some people, but it doesn't take that much. You can partner with 2 or 3 people. I've looked at this with certain people. It's just the stuff hasn't materialized like that for a variety of reasons. It is what it is. It doesn't take a whole bunch of people. Motherfuckers act like he's got, because really, I can just leverage people for the relationship. Shout out to Justin March. No, I called it like technically I still got my domains. I was gonna call it Classic Black Man. And so this idea, so basically when people talk about, oh, well, y'all dropped the ball, y'all did this, y'all did that. I'm like, nigga, y'all don't know what the fuck y'all talking about. And all y'all supposed to have this business experience, but y'all talking like y'all don't. It doesn't take that much to do shit. It really doesn't. And it don't even take 3 people, really. Like, the truth be told is, if like let's keep this all the way 100. Me alone, if I wanted to say, okay, I'm gonna build it. Let's say I did this Classic Black Man magazine, because this might actually reinvigorate the reason why I haven't done it up to this point, because I have other things I'm trying to get done right now to open up my time, and that'll be something that kind of comes in and open up my time. Writing blog posts and stuff, if I do that the way I want to do it, it's just going to take up too much time. It's going to interfere with other stuff I'm doing. Anyway, the reason, but if I were to do Classic Black Man magazine again, like really do that, I mean, really push it. Like, what I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do. Like, number one, I would use the YouTube channel first. So really, me building up this YouTube channel and building up the Discord and stuff like that, I can lump y'all in it, because if y'all fuck with me there, y'all fuck with me via email, via social media, via all of that. And then I would basically create a brand around that, aggregate that on my own. Now, if I have my own blog, I can deal with other blogosphere folks, like, you know, Black and Married with Kids, stuff like that. And then I would build up the list. And I'll also use money to build up the list, because I know I can get the money on the back end via whatever I do, and trademark and do all that. You know, I don't need nobody to do that. And so when anybody tells me they got money, but they ain't got enough money, and here's the thing, I'm just because you got money doesn't mean I'm saying you got to promote all that. I have a lot of tools for internet marketing, but my point is that, because there is ways to do things in an organic way, but but also, if you're going to try to back in leverage in a relationship, that's a problem. The reality is, Angry Man has 50,000 subscribers. And so you're telling me you couldn't build a list off of 10,000 subscribers just off the strength of Angry Man's following? And then when you look at people like Bishop, you look at Kendra's got, like, I think 8,000 herself. Like, and I'm not saying you can get every last one of each of these subscribers. I know that's not how the algorithm works. But my point is, you should have been able to rally something like a tangible thing, and then you build that. And then, I mean, he said, look, man, I had talked to people in the church, I had talked to people in this and people in that, but understand that they're all not going to be really welcome to how we do things. So I already know that they're gonna care more about image versus we care about the truth in spite of image, because the truth needs to get out there. Make sure y'all support me in the Cash App, FYI, since y'all support this late night shit. So my point is, I would have built that email list up, and the key thing with the email list is I can basically get direct response. Not only that, the SMS list, I would have built all that up. And then you build it up, and then you use that as a way of getting access to other people's content. Because here's the truth: if you build up an email list and you can get people on a stream, like if I got 93 people, it's in the middle of the fucking night. Imagine if I can get 500, 600. Even if my subscriber count isn't high, just the fact that I can get 300, even 90 people would actually give me, like, if I shield my subscriber count, I can then reach out to other people and then say, hey, man, let's do a stream. I know I can get these numbers. I know I can get like 300 when I typically have a guest or something on, you know, because I haven't done that. I haven't really done the chitlin circuit thing where I said, okay, for 90 days, I'm just going to go do channel and build up subscribers. I'm waiting to do that because I already know I could probably get up like 5,000 subscribers doing that. So I want to wait till I like get to 5 and then use that to railgun to 10 and then have my channel set in a certain way that it can be presented in a certain way. Because that's another thing. You know, a lot of way my channel is, if you come across my channel, you might be turned off because of the style in which I do it. So I got to rapidly do a whole bunch of, I plan on rapidly putting out like 30, 40 videos over the course like a 30-day period or something to kind of redress my channel a little bit. And those videos will really be about, those videos, it'll be a list of things and questions you ask me. What is a financially transmitted disease? Why am I saying that single motherhood is a cultural mental illness? You know, really, like, you know, videos that are bite-sized in like 15 minute increments, you know, 10-minute increments. Then you bring in the trending news that brings in the audience. But my point is that you build up that channel and you build up that following, but see, he wants to end route around that, and then he wants to tell himself that he's doing this for us. No, you're not, because you didn't even ask us what the fuck we want. You didn't ask that, and I already know what these dudes want. What he's trying to do is sell the idea to smaller channels that he can sell the idea to smaller channels that he can help them. If they see, this is what he wants to, I'm not going to say what he wants to do, but I'm going to say what I suspect. And I don't know to do, but what I'm saying is a lot of these smaller channels, they want a way of getting like 5,000, 10,000 subscribers the easy way. They want to be able to do it quickly and effectively. And if there was a way to exchange money for that, then that would be a very valuable thing. And so anybody that creates a magazine or creates because the magazine is just the front. The real asset is the subscriber list. I'm just up. Like, understand something. If y'all see me up like this, and I probably went to sleep early, and then I just popped up. So it ain't like, yeah. But I appreciate it, Kwame. That's the power. So because the thing about, well, what do you mean with subscriber list? Don't you mean YouTube? No, the problem with YouTube is YouTube doesn't give you access to all of your people. That's why, like, even with Kevin has 1 million subscribers, yet Kevin only still is doing like 25,000. Notice how Kevin was doing 20. Kevin's been doing consistently the same. Notice how Kevin's been doing consistently the same amount of viewership on his show. No matter how big his channel gets, he's at 1.1 million now. He's still doing 30,000. Kevin technically should probably be doing like 50, 60,000 at this point. If you look at percentages, like technically, look, I'm doing 88 people right now. I have 5,000 people. So technically, if I do the 10, now it's in the middle of the night, but you should be able to get 10% of your audience on a stream at any given time, at least 5. Now I can do that. But because I got a great audience, but everybody doesn't have it like that. And Kevin does great numbers, by the way, because I know people that do 1 million, they can't get like 3,000, 4,000 on there. So, and they're in entertainment market. So I get that. So that's actually really, really good. But like the numbers he does. O'Shea's at 100,000 subscribers. O'Shea can pretty much get like 1,000 pretty consistently. But he's at 165. So that's to give you some comparisons. But my point is, if you reason why is because you're still subject to the algorithm. Now, if you create an email list, you're gonna have to pay for that list month to month if you got that many email contacts. But if you use something like Telegram and you get people on that, which people that's kind of a drag. People are more used to email. Glenn and Cameron used to use text SMS message. Problem with SMS message is if you you got to pay for that. So even if you do 1 cent, 1 cent times 10,000, that turns into like $100. So it's like, do you want to do that unless you got something to sell, right? So that's what that would be for. But you wouldn't do that to just bring people on videos just to bring them, because you're not really beating that viewer count when it comes to AdSense necessarily. So what you have to do is you have to get your own email list to get around these algorithms. Now, people will be cheap. They'll use Twitter. But again, everybody's not on social media versus email is universal. That's why email is still king. So if you build up, so I don't know what Kevin's doing. I'm not here to tell nobody what they're doing. I'm telling you what I would do. If you build up the an email list, like let's take me. Let's say I would have built up an email list at first, and I got an email list with you guys. And let's say I only had like 3,000 of you guys. Do you realize that I could email you all at any given time when my video is up and say, hey, it's my video, whitelisted, or syndicate my stuff to get y'all to kind of communicate with you all in different algorithms? Because some of y'all on Instagram, some of you all on Twitter, some of you all on TikTok, whatever. Most of y'all on Instagram, if y'all not gonna be on here. Like, there's a lot of things you could do even as a smaller channel. And then if you get more people to watch your video sooner, a bigger version of that, then guess what? They're gonna promote your stuff more because the algorithm promotes that stuff heavy in the first 30 days. So there's a lot of things that can be done. And yeah, there's a better job we could do, but it just pisses me off when people do that, when you drop the ball shit because we didn't buy a fucking trademark. Nigga, I'm me. I'm me first. Nigga, I represent Edward Anderson first. And yes, I'm in the Black Manosphere. I may not, but I'm also in Passport Bros. Ain't nobody trademarked that shit. You know why? Because Aaron Ferris has his own shit. My Cash App is on the ticker, but it's Allen 100K. Like straight up. So when you hear, so the thing about it is, yes, we could be having those conversations. And Ramil, I really kind of like flaked on Ramil a little bit. So Ramil reached out to me about that shit. But we can have those conversations. But when I hear people saying dumb shit like, oh, well, you dropped the box because you didn't buy it. No, man, the Black Manosphere is really just describes the sector of Black YouTube we're in. That's it. That's it. Because but it's not me. Oh, well, a white person could have bought that. So what? So what? Okay. So a white person buys that, and a white person, here's the thing. Even if a white person buys that, that doesn't mean they can't take over the search engine optimization. That means I can't put the Black Manosphere in a title. I just can't sell products and services over the Black Manosphere. A trademark is not a copyright. Just like how people can put Disney in their title. They can still put Disney in their title. They just can't use Disney content unless Disney want it. You see what I'm saying? You see people, think about it. You see how many people have channels just off the strength of a reaction channel. And they react to Star Wars. They react to Halo, to Call of Duty. They react to, I'm talking about on YouTube where you actually get paid. We're not talking about TikTok or Instagram. We're talking about on YouTube where you actually get paid for views. You get paid for views and CPMs and shit like that. Nobody thinks about this. Shout out to Alien for the $10 Cash App. For She Hate Me in the chat. Hold on. Oh yeah, appreciate that. She Hate Me. My bad, I didn't mean to say your name because I know people be emailing me like, Nick, motherfucker, I don't like you put my name out there. Don't even get me started with all the trades going on right now. Now, if people want to talk about, now I will say this: one thing that's not being talked about is if people want to talk about forming up an organization as a mechanism of people donating money, right? And then that money, but see, here's the thing: just because if you donate money to people, there's indirect way. So there's something to be said with that, and there's something to be said about getting a black manosphere thing for that. But the problem is nobody really wanted to take the trademark because again, everybody said they felt like that was angry man's to do. But and also everybody doesn't need that. Like the people say, oh, ain't nobody searching for the Negro manosphere like that. That don't mean nothing. That doesn't mean that when you look at like the Black Gossip channel, right? When you look at the Black Gossip, when you look at like the Black Gossip energy industry or spill the tea industry, you don't think of particular channels or blogs and shit. You may think about like the Shade Room. You may think about World Star. You may think about Tasha K, Lovely T.I. You know, it's a lot of different stuff. That's a whole industry. When you think about colorism, you don't think about one thing. So the reality is people are kind of misconfusing trademarks with actual brand representation. So my thing, like, think about it. When you think of your biggest YouTubers in this space, like really out here, Kevin is way more impactful. Like really leaning on Kevin Samuels is way more impactful than leaning on the Black Manosphere. When you look at Jada Black didn't grow because of the Black Manosphere. Coach Greg Adams, Darius McTow, Stephens Cole, Jason Black, Professor, no, they grew on the strength of their own stuff. Kevin did not get the traction he got because of the Black Manosphere, even before the Average at Best video. That's not what that was. And so that's a complete misrepresentation of it. Now people say, well, it's hot right now and it's getting hotter. Okay, maybe. Maybe. But the reality of the situation is that when you look at how Angry Man was branding shit, Masculine Mercenary, the Black Order, that stuff wasn't Black Manosphere. Think of all of the different ways that he did. And even he said he felt like it should have been trademarked. So clearly the communication wasn't had. Yeah, Call of Duty isn't as strong as it used to be, but yeah, when Call of Duty, even Rob talked about that from Comics Explained. He thought about doing a Call of Duty channel, but he wanted to do a Comics Explained, comics, and the rest is history. But yeah, Call of Duty Grand Theft Auto put a lot of people on, yo. Grand Theft Auto put a lot of people on. A lot of y'all don't know how big some of these channels are, dude. Y'all don't. And so again, but yeah, man, I just didn't like how that was handled. I don't like how and let's see. Yeah, Expert Thieves got 5.76 million. Anyway, let me give my thoughts and then get off this bitch. So first things first, like I said, anybody saying that like motherfuckers dropped the ball, shut the fuck up, okay? Like because this little I want to be in the space, but I want to clown the space. They're gonna start being consequences to that bullshit. Because some of y'all are just being too laissez-faire about that shit. Nigga, y'all dropped the ball. Y'all did this. Y'all not on y'all business. Stop that fucking faggoty ass clout chasing cheap bullshit. I get tired of that. Folks are choosing to listen to folks. Like, and it's funny, these same motherfuckers ain't got nothing to say about motherfuckers listening to Cynthia G. Cynthia G is pulling 2.2 thousand views, like as far as a viewership. But you ain't got motherfuckers really jumping. Like the same motherfuckers that want to jump on us ain't jumping on the shit she do. When you know them niggas, them motherfuckers are straight hustling over there. And you notice that a lot of motherfuckers that'll be caught right alongside them motherfuckers, like the quote unquote B1 and all of them, they got a lot to say about what the fuck we do. That shit gets on my nerves. And there are legitimate criticism. Like Grown Man Business is a good example. Somebody that critiques the space, but doesn't overly do it. That's number one. Okay, number two, as far as how the dude conducted himself on Bernard Riley, I'm sorry, man. I don't trust niggas that are that they act like nigga. Anybody wants to say they're a doctor, but they want to act like a nigga like that, I don't like. You know, shout out to Green Gorilla. Green Gorilla is a street dude with a PhD, but Green Gorilla knows how to moderate that shit a little bit. He knows how to communicate in the way that needs to be communicated. You got motherfuckers where it's like, nigga, you not talking to niggas in the hood. Talk like we're in a fucking cigar shop, not like we fucking roll shooting dice. Like, I shouldn't feel like I'm outside of a fucking Walgreens or a goddamn liquor store when we're talking about something as important as this. I'm sorry. Presentation matters. Okay? And that, like, I used to be a street nigga. Look, man, I know dudes that they used to do shit and now they're doing productive shit, sure. But that I used to be a street nigga and I'm going to appeal to you on a street nigga level, that shit ain't going to work, nigga. You say you've been in this space, but you don't know this space. Then Sheep Stay Sleep comes in reinforcing that bullshit. And it's like, nigga, y'all are expected us to rally, to aggregate, but y'all supposed to be above the shit. See, you can't play kid shit when you supposed to say you gonna be the adult in the room. You can't do that. And then, oh yeah, nigga, we need to do this, we need to do that. We don't need to do shit. What you need to do. And again, like Grant said, Kendra came on there, and you know, I'm sorry, Kendra, it looked like you were momming us. I'm sorry. And for you to understand the gynocracy, I mean, you should understand how that was going to look. And it's like, well, fuck that. I feel a certain way and it was the right thing to do. The shit that happened, exactly what Grim said what happened. Now people making a whole bunch of screams roasting. A lot of capital was spent on nothing. Nobody gives a fuck about that trademark. That's why nobody bought it. Irregardless of what somebody wants to say about the value of it. Because the truth is, anybody that would have bought it, somebody would have felt some type of way about it. Well, a palm cut, and then somebody was saying, Nyla says that, you know, somebody, they'll sell it. Okay, let them sell it. I promise you this, if they sell it to a non-black person, guess the fuck what? That's the end of some of these relations. I promise you this, let him sell it to a non-black person. Let him do that. I don't give a fuck about what O'Shea said. I heard what O'Shea said. And guess what? I'm not against what O'Shea said. And with that said, let him sell it to a non-black person. That's going to fuck up reputations. That's going to fuck up a lot of people's reputation. That's going to affect all the people y'all said that was like surrounded with it or people got permissions. Guess what? That's going to come back to them. So we'll see what niggas want to do or what niggas want to do. And honestly, what is that going to mean? Because we usually say the Manosphere 2.0. The Black Manosphere 2.0 or the Manosphere 2.0, the sphere. You don't really hear me like that shit is an identifier. And the reality of the situation is, I wish somebody would send me a season. Yeah, man, don't say you associate with this. Nigga, get the fuck out of here. Nigga, I'm talking about a YouTube sector. That shit, our shit existed before you want to talk about buying some shit. So I'm supposed to not say what the fuck I'm supposed to say because you try. Nah, get the fuck out of here. Like you had people, I mean, think about it. You had people, ADOS took the shit very far. And look at where that's at. So let's stop acting like, you know, and again, when you say you're the Black Manosphere, and a lot of y'all don't remember, like these, the websites like Very Smart Brothers and Urban Intellectuals, you know, all in websites that got bought up by like bigger companies like NBC and stuff like that under their like blog division. So they became like Blavity and all of that. These fucking neoliberal, Negro, you know, LGBT, you know, before Black Lives Matter, like outlets and shit. I mean, Professor Black Truth used to do damage on that shit. And you think that you won't do that? As soon as somebody show you some money to buy that shit, even if it's just to park it, guess what? You gonna cave. Yeah, man, my intentions. Yes, your intentions change if somebody's showing you $100, $200, $300,000. I know how niggas are. You can kiss my ass with them intentions. Kept saying it over. My intentions, my intentions, my intentions. I'm like, nigga, you talking to other black people. You sound like an African when you trying to game us. And no. And then just how when we said something, it's just how he responded. It was on some, like when Ramil said what he said, it's like you want to make it like Ramil was just on one. When I said what I said or other people said what it's like, he just didn't want to be bothered. And Fantastic was right. He's not used to being challenged. And I'm like, again, you say you've been in this space X amount of time, but which is code for you probably was around Anger Man's division, not maybe well known. And then you think you gonna come to the greater space and then talk that bullshit. Like we just supposed to know. You're dumb. And so the way he conducted himself with that shit turned me the fuck off like completely. And y'all know I was pushing back against Ramil a little bit. But like after hearing him, I'm like, and then all of them, I'm like, nah, man. Nah, man. Nah, man. Y'all are just trying to pretend like y'all are not on that bullshit. But nigga, I can hear it. Y'all can't even turn this shit off for 2 seconds. Y'all can't turn the shit off to 2 seconds. Y'all act like motherfuckers don't know how that shit worked out when y'all did the Black Order and shit. People remember, like when motherfuckers cussed me out, Cerulean and all them wanted to attack me and they wanted to push everybody out to BGS shit. The break. I want y'all to. I'm gonna say this, and this is controversial, and I'm gonna leave it alone. You know, nobody never really goes into what actually broke. The 8-hour hangout shit. Nobody ever goes into what actually fucked that shit up. And BGS like stop turning it off. And then I'm gonna say this for that to all, and so people to like to spread out, and then for people to just spin out, and then come back to the fact where motherfuckers are beefing with the very people that felt like their side was taken in that, like the street side was taken in the end. That's how it was felt like. I just find that very funny. And at the end of the day, I don't know what the fuck he has, and I don't care. Him having, because at the end of the day, he ain't no Dr. Sean Johnson. He ain't no Green Gorilla. We got motherfuckers trying to do documentaries and shit. We got Sean Johnson trying to do his group. You got O'Shea and his blog. I'm much more likely to support what they do than to fuck with this nigga talking about. I just am. And you got, and as far as I'm concerned, all right, yeah, this dude could have did what anybody else done. He could have did a tour. He could have went on Prophet of Thought. He could have did a whole, he could have did all of that. He didn't want to do none of that. He wanted to back end it. And you can say what you want about O'Shea. At the end of the day, everybody can look at that, man. Ain't nobody need O'Shea to point that out. O'Shea just solidified it. Absolutely. But everybody was saying that before. O'Shea didn't come up there first. Like Ramil was calling that out. And so, again, and I'm sorry. And another thing you're not going to get around is you having another female editor other than Kendra. You're not going to get around that. You could have picked anybody. Like, that just shows you're not smart. Or at least your ego is bigger than your brain. Like, you really think, and then you put an article out on that for people to see. So people are literally like, and then you just think you was going to jive talk your way out of that shit. That's what you thought you was going to do. Then you want to wait till Obsidian's fucking gone and then try this shit. Like I said, I've been, this is some of the stuff that I was, what they tried to do was the very thing that I was telling Obsidian why I don't really believe in absolute unity like that. This was the very thing I was critiquing Obsidian on. And you really think that this motherfucker was going to come back and then I'm sitting here going to be caping for a mother? Man, get the fuck. You understand how full of shit that would make me? If we have pushed back on Obsidian, you know good goddamn well we not about to trust no motherfucker we don't know. And Obsidian is his own person. So we can't play that O'Shea, because they've beat, so we can't play that O'Shea, it's a team, it's this and that. A lot of us don't give a fuck about the factionary shit. They really don't. A lot of, like, and I'm in that camp. I'm kind of like Grinch. Yeah, I have people I support, but a lot of the people I don't support is because motherfuckers want to click with me and say, look, if you ain't supporting me, you either with me or you against me. I'm like, all right, if you gonna do that bullshit, I'm Switzerland, irregardless what you want to be. Cause I'm too grown, I'm too old for that bullshit. I really am. Anyway, I appreciate y'all support. No, ain't nothing happened with Obsidian. Obsidian been gone. I don't know if he got a windfall. I don't know. Obsidian been gone. You know, maybe he's on vacation. That's what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, it's interesting that they tried to put this shit out here when Obsidian bounced. I find that interesting and ironic. So no, we're not playing. We're not. And I would check out O'Shea's video. I don't know if it's still up. Ain't nobody playing with y'all. And the thing about it is, like, you know, we don't need you. That's the thing. We can build our shit without, motherfuckers can build their shit without you. Shit don't seem like it's popping off, but trust me, that shit's gonna change. That shit is going to change. Like, I'm about to really start to try to push this channel and get this channel like dressed up in a way that I can, you know, get it pushed up. And understand something with me. I believe in a rising tide raises all ships. Because I understand there's certain things Fantastic can speak to. I'm not gonna speak to. There's certain things Ramil's gonna speak to. There's certain credibilities that certain people bring. So with the people that I fuck with, I believe in a rising tide raises all ship. And that's not just the men, that's also with some of the women too. You know, I believe in all of that. So that's why I share people saying shout out to Artists and MC. You know, because I'm not gonna always be on the geekdom shit, but I definitely want a channel that's promoted, that has credibility. That if I want to enter into that, I can. Shout out to the Black Dimension as well. And these things take time, and it's taking longer than maybe it should. And that's because I was being lazy. But yeah. So I don't need nobody's help, because I don't want nobody to say that they put me on. I don't want nobody to say none of that at all. At all. Like, I don't even got this channel monetized. I just got the super chats turned on. That's why y'all probably catch as many commercials on my shit as maybe other people's. So, yeah, man. Anyway, it's been great. We did a good hour and 45. Appreciate to the cash apps. Appreciate the super chat. I appreciate y'all showing up, man. You know, y'all really good about that. No, I wouldn't say. No, he didn't tweak out. No, I don't know. I think he's on vacation. And when I say vacation, I don't want to pocket watch him or nothing. But obviously, y'all know he was selling that book, and then, you know, he's probably on vacation. Shit, he didn't tweak out. That's not what you think. He really gonna write a book and then push that book and then come on, man, stop it. So yeah, it's a new frontier, yo, and that's one thing we need to do as this space is sometimes we get real comfortable. We need to take this as a lesson, and really kind of, you know, because that's one thing I think we need to do a better job at. We need to do a better job at really codifying the audience. Yeah, and that's why I don't be sitting here asking bigger creators for help like that. I make sure I'm gonna get my shit to where I'm gonna get my shit, and then we're gonna do what the fuck we do. So anyway, y'all, it's been great. So with that being said, you know, this is Edward. Everybody hates black men with the midnight hour. This is Edward signing off. Peace. Oh yeah. Hold on. Before I drop off, let me do this since y'all here. Do some house cleaning. Make sure y'all jump in. Make sure y'all jump in the Discord. The Discord is kind of an extension of my Telegram. So this is the Discord. I gotta get better promote my Discord. I gotta create a domain and forward it. But let's jump on the Discord. Yeah, so with that being said, this is Edward signing off. Peace.